Hi everyone, welcome to the Bioinformatics Coach channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to read VCF files using the Python package Pandas. So let's get started. So first of all, we need to make sure we have Python installed on our respective computers, and we should also have the Python package Pandas installed. If you don't have Python installed, don't worry, you can still run for the most part all the exercise on your browser. Okay. So just visit Google Colab. There's a page. I'll leave the link to this page in the description box. And when you are here, just click on New Notebook, and then voila, you have a notebook that you can run your Python codes in. All right. So for the sake of beginners, I'll quickly just type something in this code, in this text code here. So I'll just say print hello world, just for some of you to just see how that can be done easily with your browser. Just a simple browser, and you can run your Python codes. All right, so that's how you'll be able to run Python codes with your browser. I have a tutorial that goes into detail with how to do this, so just check that if you want to learn how to do that. All right, now back to our Jupyter notebook here. Okay, so first of all, we need to get our example data, right? And we also need to make sure we have the Python package installed. Okay, so first of all, let's get the data, which is here. All right, so when you are here, all right, just come to this GitHub repo here. So in this GitHub repo, the link to this repo, by the way, is in the description box. I repeat, the link to this repo is in the description box. All right, so when you are here, all I have to do is to come to variant.vcf.gz. So click it, and when you click it, you'll be sent to this page. All right, so when you are here to download, just come to download raw file, click it to download. All right, so once you click it, it's going to get downloaded for you. So mine has been downloaded. All right, so it's very simple and straightforward. It's a small file, by the way, so no need to struggle. All right, so I have mine downloaded. It is here, the file is here. All right, so I will just proceed to read it with Python. All right, you can still read it directly from GitHub, so it's also fine. All right, so if let's say you have issues on your PC, you can still load it directly from GitHub. Okay, so if you're using Google Colab, you just need to use the link. I'll show you all that, by the way, so don't worry, we will go through all that. So you don't need to have it on your PC. I repeat, I'll also show you another approach to read this file. All right, okay, so first of all, let's import pandas. So I'll say import pandas as PD. This is what we are going to use to read the VCF file. So let's run it. Nice. Okay. Now, after running it, we now need to define our file. All right. So if your file is on your local machine, then you need to look at the path where the file can be found. All right. So mine, I know where it is. So I will just go to the notebook, and then I'll say file, or I'll just say VCF file equals, I'll say /home/combiner/VCF/variance.vcf.gz. All right, so this is how I'm going to load it from my computer. If you don't have it on your computer, don't worry, there's another approach that you can use to get this file. All right, so any of them is fine. All right, so if let's say you want to read from the GitHub page directly, all right, then in that case you should come here. Okay, come here on this page where we clicked and we came here, this page, come to raw, right click on raw and copy the link. I repeat, right click on raw and copy the link. All right, and then just define it. Okay, say VCF file equals, and you give your double quotes, and in the double quotes, those who double quote, there should be no space, by the way, because this is a string. You paste your link there. All right, so if you want to use it directly from GitHub, then this is how you are going to define your VCF file. If it's your local machine, then you need to put it this way. All right, so just take note of that. All right, so whichever way, everything is fine. You can just proceed. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this first approach because I have it on my PC. All right, so just make sure to get it sorted out. All right, so let's proceed. All right, so let's run this. Okay, I'll just run both again just to be sure, and I'll run this also. Nice. So in order to confirm that this has been created successfully, I'll just say print VCF file. All right, so we have printed it. We know we have created that variable, so everything is good. We can proceed. All right, so let's proceed. So now we are now going to read the VCF file using pandas. All right, so you will still need to do a bit of tweaking, but I'll show you all the tricks so that you can use your own VCF files later. All right, so read VCF file. So we will say df variant equals, and I'll say pd.read csv, and then I'll specify the VCF file, and then I'll say sep equals /t, because the headers that we have in the VCF file, they are separated by a tab character, so that's why we have /t to represent the tab, and then comma, and we say comments equals this one. All right, equals hash. All right, so that's how we are going to do it. Then we will bring our brackets to close it. So that's how it's going to be done. All right, so the comment here, we need it because with VCF files we have some metadata and some other information which are in that file, and so those ones, the lines begin with hash. All right, okay, with hash symbols, with a hash symbol for each line. Okay, it's not usually double line, and there's also another one with a single hash. I repeat, it's usually double hash symbols. All right, and there's also one line which has just a single hash symbol, but we are just skipping all those lines. So basically all lines that begin with hash, they are not variant records, so we are going to skip them for now. Okay, that's what you need to take from here. All right, so let's run this. Nice, it's done. So if it's done, how do we know we have read it successfully? Just do df variant.shape. So this will get it for us. So we have that here. All right, now we have it. Let's take a look at something. Let's take a look at a few of the records. Let's say df variant.head. That's how we get the first 5 records in a pandas data frame. Let's read it. Now when you read it, you realize something. There's a data frame, so we have rows and columns, so we are expecting column names or headers. But here what we see is that one of the variant records has been used as headers. All right, so this, we need to take care of it. All right, so that's where we are going to apply some tweaking so that we can get that also sorted out. All right, so we've read it, good job. We now need to rectify this. We now need to format it properly. Okay, so we are getting back to that. All right, so I'll just say properly reading the VCF file. All right, and then we are going to start everything proper. Okay, now this is what we have. Let's get back to the command line. I just want to show you something first. You don't need to do that yourself. I just want to show you the rationale behind what we are going to do. All right, let's go back to our VCF file, which is here. I'll open my terminal. Now I'll just do z cat. I'll specify the file, which is this. All right, I just want the first, maybe first 3 records. All right, so that's what we are talking about. So you see all these lines that begin with hash. We've skipped all of them because they are not records. All right, I can also say zgrep. This one will be the proper way to get all those lines. That will give us all lines that begin with the hash character. All right, so they all begin with hash character. Or let me just say they all begin with 2 hash characters. There is one line, that is the last line, which begins with just a single hash character, which is this one here. All right, this one here. So this particular line is important. We need that information. Remember when we read it, we had one variant record being used as header. But then ideally, the header we should have, or the column names we should have, is what we see here. These are the ones we should see. But because it begins with a hash, and because in our reading we specify all columns that begin with hash as comments, Pandas skip that. So we need to find a way to introduce that in our command so that we can get a fully formatted DF, or let's say data frame. All right, so that's what we are going to look at. Now this command, let me just get just that line. I'll just say -n1 to get that. Okay, so this that we have here, we need to find a way to bring this information into Python. All right, so what we are going to do is to issue this command in Python. Okay, and then we will try to use that to get this header, okay, into our data frame. Okay, so that's what we are going to do now. All right, so there's a Linux command. So if you're using Windows, probably it may work or not. I've not really tested it on a Windows environment. I mostly deal with Linux, but if you're using Google Colab, chances are it's going to work as well. So don't worry if you don't have a Linux machine, at least just knowing the rationale will help you to also use other tools to help you get that. All right, so that's what we need to look at. All right, so we are going to issue our command to get the headers, and then we will add it to our Pandas data frame. All right, so what we need to do is to get the headers. So I'll use this same command. All right, now there's a different one. Let me just open this one. I'll use the same command. All right, so I'll come back to my notebook. I'll first say import OS. I will need this model, okay, to run the Linux command and get the output. All right, so I'm going to need this, and then what I'm going to do is that after importing it, I'll now say cmd, that's command, equals, and I'll say double quotes, and I'll say zgrep, single quotes, my caret symbol hash, single quote again, and then when I come here, all right, there's a space here. Take note of the space. All right, I'll just bring a double quote again. There are different approaches, but I just want to make it simple for you. All right, so make sure there's a space here, and then say plus VCF file plus, then you bring your double quote again, bring your pipe, and say tail -n1. So this becomes the command. All right, so now we are going to issue a command to get the headers. So I'll just say columns equals, and I'll say os.popn, os.popn. I'll specify the command, and I'll say .read. So let's run this. Perfect. Now if I type columns, all right, I will see something happening. We will see this. All right, now what we see here, we need to format it again. We need to give it an additional formatting. So we will need to first remove this hash character. We also need to remove this /n, which means new line. All right, so we need to do that. So I'll just say columns equals columns dot strip. I'll remove this, and I'll add dot strip again. All right, or we can just do it one step at a time. Okay, for the sake of beginners, I'll just keep it simple. Okay, so first I'll say remove the hash symbol. So I'll do that here. All right, now if I say columns, it's no longer there. Then I'll remove the new line character. Okay, let me just correct this. I'll just say remove the new line character, and then I'll say columns equals columns dot strip /n. Now let's run this. Nice. Now if I say columns, you'll see that it has been removed. What we need to do next is to convert this to a list. Okay, a list. So we need that information. We need to format it to a list so that we can add this to pandas. All right, when we are reading the VCF file again. For those who don't know what a list is, I've already covered a tutorial on that. So if you want to know what a Python list is, just check the description box. There's a link to a video that will show you how. That will show you what it is. All right. So let's say convert the column to a list data type. So I'll say columns equals columns dot split /t tab. So let's run this. Perfect. Now if I say print columns, this is what comes. There's a list. Now let's look at something. Let's say learn columns. Let's run it. When you run it, you are getting a number of elements in the list, and it's 19. This 19 here is the same as what we got earlier when we opened the VCF file. Okay, without any formatting, we see that here 19. So a number of records and number of columns, we have that here. All right. I had to explain that, but it skipped. So this value here is number of records or number of variants, and this is the number of columns. All right. Okay. So let's do this. Now that we have this, we need to read the VCF file again and then introduce the headers or the column names or the columns. All right. So let's read the VCF file and add the columns. So I'll say df variants. I'll use the same variable to replace it. All right. Equals, and I'll say pd.read csv VCF file sep equals /t, comma, comment equals hash, comma, and then we say names equals columns. All right. Now we have it. Now this is what is going to do the trick for us. Now let's run this. Perfect. Now if we say df variant.shape, we get what? 26894. Here it was 26893 because one of the records was used as the header. But now that we have all of them as records, that's why it's 94. The columns 19 is the same. Now we can say df.head, and we will see what. Let me just, not df, let me just do it again. It's a df variant. So we say df variant.head. It will give us this. All right. So we see the columns nicely displayed for us. All right. We have that also here. Okay. Now you can say df variant.columns just to also be sure. So this will display just the columns. So now we see the columns here. All right. Okay. It's very, very, very cool. Okay. Now if you have this, then it's possible to do a subset. Some of you may want to extract some information. Probably you want to obtain the chromosome position, ref, or quality. So once you have it this way, it's possible to subset. Okay, this is a Pandas data frame. All right, so there are ways to subset, and I already have a full tutorial on how to subset data frame. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll just do an example. Let's say we want chromosome position. All right, we want chromosome and position, and then let's say ref alt. Okay, first I'll first define the columns of interest. Columns of interest equals, so I want chrom I want post, I want ref, I want alt. All right. Now, if I have this, then I can just come and then I'll just say subset equals, and I'll say df variance square brackets, and then in the square brackets I'll place in the columns of interest. All right, now let's run it. If I say subset.shape, it tells me this. If I say subset.head, I have this. All right, now if I have this, I can also export. So I can say subset.toCSV, and then I will say /home/cogna/VCF /subset.csv. I can save it this way. All right, now I'll just say index equals false. All right, and I'll save it. Now I have saved it. All right, so if I go to my folder, I will see it here. All right, and this I can open it with a spreadsheet software. I repeat, this I can open it with a spreadsheet software. So I'll open it now for you to see. Okay, so that has been done. All right, now what you should notice that this approach I use is for selecting all variants. All right, now if you want to select the variants based on samples, then that one, there are other tools, or let me say there are tweaks that you have to use to be able to do that as well. But for now, this one is with the assumption that you are just extracting information other than the sample, other than sample level variants. Okay, so that one, this approach may not be appropriate. But if it's just for the other fields, chromosome position ID, ref, info formats, etc., then that one is appropriate. But for the sample specific variants, we have to do additional tweaking, and then you also have to use other tools like VCF. So that one is beyond the scope of this tutorial, and so I'll try to make another tutorial on that, and then I'll try to share once that is also ready. So for now, just enjoy this video, and I'll see you next time.